My girlfriend of 6 years cheated on me with an older man. This is quite an old story and it's always pretty cathartic for me to get it off of my chest when it's bothering me. I still feel the effects of it on my soul some 10 years later. I'm 32 now, but at the time I was 22 and my girlfriend was 20. We had been together for 6 years, all of the way from high school. I can tell you exact dates even today. We were together from September 22, 2006 until October 12, 2012. I loved this girl, I loved her with my entire self unconditionally. I had the wool pulled over my eyes in life and thought that no matter what we would always be together, we would always work together to get through everything, we would always have each other's backs. We were one another's first love. How could we not commit to one another that way? That's what I thought, at least. We had already had a cheating incident about 2 years prior to this. I had heard through the grapevine that she was possibly going behind my back with someone, and she was, but it turned out to be another girl who was slightly older. Now, of course, at 20 years old you think this is actually the coolest thing ever. Oh yeah, my girl is into girls, this is rad. But it ended up turning into something I didn't want to deal with. Youthful 20-year-old insecurity on my part. So we got through that, but I don't think things were ever truly the same. I feel like she was beginning to experience FOMO, a problem I think that a lot of us guys have had to deal with when it comes to being cheated on. She was around 18 at the time, and I think she was really beginning to doubt that I was the person she wanted to be with, and I can see that plain as day now. Fast forward to 2012. She had graduated in 2011, 2 years after me. We're in the 6th year together. Despite the speed bump we had previously, our relationship at no point ever felt like it dwindled. We did things together all of the time, she never rejected me physically or vice versa, and I felt like everything was phenomenal. I'm working and going to college, she's working. I'm trying to get a foothold financially so that we can hopefully, in my eyes anyway, start getting ready to set the rest of our lives in motion. Then, finally, things felt like they started changing. For the first time ever, she was beginning to show less interest in me little by little, and it happened fast, probably about a month before I found out. She had recently switched jobs and had gotten a great one, much better than what she had had previously. I saw this as awesome for us, as together we were making great money and could start saving for a house. When that was actually an attainable dream for young people. But she just continued to show less and less interest, it really just snowballed. Of course my mind started to whisper in my ear, she's met someone at this new job, and I was right. One day I decided to use some of my PTO and leave work early about halfway through the day. I just wasn't feeling working that day. Her and I had fun plans for that night because it was on a Friday. It was kind of a spur of the moment decision on my part to leave early, so I didn't text her or call her immediately to let her know. I figured she was at work herself and would follow up with her later. So I get in the car and drive home, not a single worry in the world. I pull up to our house, which was a rental, and there was a vehicle parked out front that I didn't recognize, and my girlfriend's Ford Explorer was parked in the driveway. Immediately I'm perplexed. I knew she had a lot of friends and they came over to hang out with us from time to time, but I didn't recognize this one. It was a navy blue BMW Beamer, late 2000s model. I thought, who the fuck is this? As soon as, and I mean as soon as I unlocked the front door and opened it, and I heard her. When I tell you my heart sank to the very bottom of my feet, I mean it. I just stood there honestly for what felt like a minute, listening to her moan and shit while the entire previous 6 years played out in my mind, and also the embarrassment I would feel having to tell my family, who thought very highly of her and loved her, and friends, this had happened. I swallowed my pride and finally just walked inside. I went down the hallway and turned the corner to the bedroom and just leaned on one side of the frame. Neither one noticed me immediately because of the way the bed was facing the doorway foot first. I saw just his back and her laying flat on her stomach beneath him while he was fucking her from behind. I could have just left right then and they never would have even known I was there, but I said something just casual like, "Hey, what's up?" It shocked the shit out of both of them. She hit me with the "what are you doing here," as you'd expect, the typical stuff. I think he was definitely way more embarrassed than she was. I just left and went back to the car. I can't even describe the things I was feeling, but the strongest emotion was, did I really just waste 6 years of time and effort on this girl? And also just disbelief she would ever do this to me. She came outside a few minutes later to talk to me, and it didn't get any better from there. When I tell you these words affected me for the next 10 years and continue to do so to this day, I mean it. "You're annoying, You make me miserable, you're terrible in bed, and I never wanted to be with you anyway. It reads and sounds like a comical villain from a movie or something, but she literally looked me dead in the face and said all of these things with such venom, like she had been holding onto them for a long time. My confidence in myself was shattered, and I still struggle with it to this day. Everyone I have been with in a serious relationship with since has had to deal with the aftermath of that day, and it's not fair to them. I found out in the next few days details. He was in his 40s and was her boss at work at her new job, and was also married with at least one kid. I don't blame him for wanting her necessarily. She was gorgeous, tall, about 5 feet 9 inches, 5 feet 10 inches, huge and gorgeous green eyes, absolutely amazing rack, great ass, good personality, and fun to be around. To me, she is still the most beautiful woman I've ever been with. I fell in love with her the very first instant I saw her. I didn't seek to sabotage their tryst, but I do know eventually that him and her began a serious relationship, and he had left his wife. He was somewhere in his mid-40s now with my ex, who was 20. They ended up having a kid of their own together, which made me sick to my stomach in the mid-2010s when I heard about that. It's been 11 years now, and it doesn't bother me day to day, but my confidence and approach to the dating world and women in general, I think, is still greatly affected by it. Comment. I feel for you. Similar story from my past. Went as far as ring shopping, and suddenly she met someone else, didn't leave right away but just started being insufferable, and married the new guy. It still bothers me that for some reason I was unmarriable, that we got so close and she took a chance elsewhere. Sometimes I think I haven't let go, because if I do, I will be somehow admitting that love wasn't meaningful, that it didn't happen, like there was no one to witness what was so meaningful to me and not to anyone else. That letting go of the pain is the hardest. If I let go of that, then it's like our years together and the love that I felt never happened. I hope it was helpful. I couldn't figure out why I held on to her or pain for so long. I was in love, but she was oftentimes cruel and toxic, but then she could be as good as she was cruel and toxic, and it was confusing. Having it end in such a horrible way made me feel like I had imagined the whole thing. I blamed myself for a lot of it. The only thing I can think is that if I just let this die and let go, it feels like all that love and investment is completely water, and that love that felt very tangible went unappreciated or unwitnessed. It's a difficult feeling to express. This has been the thing that has stuck with me the longest. I don't even remotely understand monkey branching. I can't just swap my emotions like that. Even when I have been the one to pull the trigger on the breakup, I still need time before I'm ready to be with someone else. You've been holding on to this pain for a very, very long time. You might have even sabotaged some of your relationships since then. I think you really need to see a therapist. Your story made me so sad. I hope you get help, because you should be happy in a relationship now. I don't think you've ever gotten over it. I spent 12 years of my life with someone who cheated in our bed numerous times and left me for one of his younger employees. They have 3 kids together now. It took me about 2 years to not feel completely devastated. It's one reason I'll never mess with men in relationships or those that are married. I never want to stoop to her level and cause another woman the pain I felt. It's been 9 years, and while I don't think I'll ever feel the intense love I felt for him, looking back it was an unhealthy love, as are such love stories with a narcissist. I now know what a healthy love feels like, and contentment. And that's enough for me. Even after 9 years I still think of it, and it does play a part in the way I live my life and my thoughts on love. I take relationships very seriously, and I struggle to see so many people treating their marriages and relationships like they are nothing. I think I was so utterly devastated by him that I am content to live life with the love I have now, and the peace it brings me, because it's a different type of love, and I'm okay with that. When you find some mature, they will not want to be with someone more exciting. Relationships and marriages turn from butterflies to comfortable routine. Love is a choice. Choosing to love the same person when things start to turn into a routine is real life. I for one love the comfortable predictability of my life. I know you will find that one day. Wow, you literally went to hell and back. Fuck man, I give you a lot of props for the way you handled it and how you some would put your pieces together and living a great life. I wish you the best, and I know you'll find somebody that truly deserves you. I guess you are the meaning of what a real man is. Happened to me. GF from 6th grade through college dumped me one day. I knew it was coming but was never really prepared for it. It has fucked me up with every else I dated. Few years later she sends me a card trying to be nice. Talked on the phone a bit. One day I went to her place and she tells me there are 3 guys she could see herself spending the rest of her life with, and I was one of them. I said, take me off the list. I still loved her, but I couldn't go through the heartbreak again. Still sometimes wonder what if. Funny thing, about 5 years later we both had children at the same hospital on the same day.